Welcome back, friends. This is episode 3. I am so excited for you guys to meet our guest. Her name is Joyce Tody. She is the creator and founder of Collective Women's Leadership. I'm super blessed that I know her, also that I'm part of this organization. And so without that, let's jump into it. Welcome, Joyce.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Wonderful. Grateful to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love to lean into is really your journey. I know that you started off, and we talked a little bit about managing, leading in the high-end retail space, and then the gaming sector. And of course, we will end with what you're doing and what we're doing together with CWL. But tell me a little bit about your journey in getting here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I did my undergrad at Arizona State. Quickly after that, I got my first job at Nordstrom at a cosmetic counter, and they gave me a manager title.
Wow.
So I was super excited about that. Little did I know I was just managing myself. But I was excited for the title,
important.
Right? Yeah. Through my journey, I quickly loved Nordstrom and everything they stood for. I went through their executive leadership program and then was quickly promoted to a department manager. After that, I was recruited to Victoria's Secret, where I was over a store in Scottsdale, and then was given the opportunity to open the world's largest Victoria's Secret in Herald Square, New York City.
Wow.
In the early 2000s. So I was still very much in my early 20s, but I was thrown into this vast new world of New York. I didn't know anything about it. I bought a one-way ticket, never had been, and was so excited to start my leadership journey. Wow. So they trusted in me at that point to recruit, hire, train, for the largest store in the world for Victoria's Secret at the time.
That's amazing. Did you know coming out of college that this would be where you wanted to kind of start your career?
No, my major was broadcast journalism.
Wow. Wow.
I was thinking I was going to be Katie Couric at the time. For those of you that don't know who that is, she was the on the Today Show when I was growing up, and I watched her every morning while I was getting ready and really wanted to be on the news.
Wow, that's interesting. And so Nordstrom's really was your springboard into all of the leadership aspect very early on in your career. Yeah. What would you say because I think one thing that binds us is that we've got first year college students. Yours is coming back tomorrow. Mine's coming back the end of this month. What would you say to those who are either just getting, like this is their graduation from high school going into college, and then also those maybe graduating? What would you say to them as far as like next steps?
Don't pigeonhole yourself and say yes to most opportunities that present themselves. Life, I think, has this unique way of creating a path for us, even if it's not what we had in mind for ourselves. Yeah. And the second you jump out of school, especially your undergrad, there's no such thing as your dream job.
Yeah.
I don't think that exists. And I think the younger generation really needs to wrap their head around the fact that it's going to take a long time for them to figure out what they're meant to do through grit, hard work, determination, and continuing on to make themselves invaluable.
Yeah. Well, I think we had a conversation about this when we met, about how kids and I don't say kids, young adults, right? They just jump out and they expect, well, I'm going to make $1 million right out of college. Right. And that's not the truth.
Yeah. What's interesting is I've heard numerous times, I just want to be paid what I'm worth.
Yeah.
Right. Out of school right. I just want to be paid what I'm worth. Well, unfortunately, with an undergrad degree, you're really not worth much. Unless you have already started at a very young age crafting what you're good at.
I think that's the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
I think people, even going into college, their concern is declaring a major, right? The first steps.
Right.
And then that pressure of, well, I don't know if it's something I'm going to love, but I mean, to your point, you went in as journalism, broadcast journalism, and you ended up, I mean, you are a leader, right? You went through leadership, the mentorship aspect of it. So circling back to that mentorship, you say high-end retail. And so what did that do for you after you came out of the Nordstrom world and leadership? Did that bring you to Vegas then, back to Vegas?
No, so I had quite a journey before then. I was recruited by a high-end kind of boutique, BCBG Max Azria. Okay. So in the late 90s, mid 2000s, they were the place to shop for young professionals. And it was pretty much on the high end. They had New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week. So they were on the realm of having their fashion shows, and their pieces were pretty expensive. I was recruited to run the flagship store in New York City on 66 and Madison.
Wow.
And it was a 5-story building, and I probably had 28 salespeople working for me at that time. Wow. But responsible for everything, right? Inventory, sales goals, hiring, coaching, mentoring, succession planning. The nice thing is about retail is we started succession planning before anyone started talking about it in the corporate world, right? In the corporate world, everyone is talking about succession planning in the C-suite for CEOs and for other leaders within the organization. That's kind of a new theory that has recently emerged in the last few years. But retail had been doing it for years prior to that.
That's interesting. The succession from coming in as a brand new sales associate all the way up, right? That's
sure. If they wanted to be in sales, if they wanted to get into leadership, if they wanted to get into management, if they wanted to get into buying, all of those types of things, it really started on the sales floor with the people that were there.
Yeah. And with each organization that you were part of, did they always have the leadership training that you took when you first started at Nordstrom's? So
Nordstrom's was a very specific setting in terms of you had to be nominated, you had to get sign-offs from your managers. It was more class setting.
Okay.
And then I kind of took that and made it my own through each retail sector I went through.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then after BCBG, what did you?
I was then recruited to be the director of Tiffany & Company.
Wow.
In Orlando, Florida. It was at the time like a $45 million location. I was overjobbed. I was only 26 years old when I got that job.
Wow.
So hindsight being 2020, I was overjobbed. I didn't know what I know now. I definitely would have been a different director. I was probably the youngest director at the time by 20 years in the company. I was leading professional sales executives who had been working for the company 20 plus years.
Wow.
And had $1 million to $2 million books.
Wow.
And I really, looking back, I would have definitely approached that career differently.
In what way? What would you say would be like the top 3 things you would have done differently?
I would have not directly gone at it just from a business perspective. I wish I would have taken the time and had the patience to really hone the sales staff, get to know them. Mm-hmm. I didn't have, when the corporate pressure is coming down at you at 26, I didn't know how to navigate that.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I just took the message and delivered it without catering it to who I was leading.
That's growth, though, too, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Like as we look back in our just growth as a leader, and then even in maturity as a person, as a woman, and how we would have looked back. Because I say the same thing. We talked a little bit about that on one of my other shows. She's like, I just wish I wasn't like all about the hustle and grind.
That's right.
And
that's all it was about, the hustle and grind and what sale do you have coming in and what are you doing next and where is the next sale?
Yeah.
And it really wasn't fair. It's not who I am now in terms of if I was going to get back into the corporate brick and mortar leadership role again, it's a very different thing now.
I don't know how to instill that in people. I look at my own, I even look at my daughter, right? Like just in understanding, the pressure around people who come out of college, they immediately think the $1 million price tag, what I'm worth. They don't realize that they need to go through the growth aspect of it. But I almost wonder, what would my career have been like if I could see myself 10 years from now and I took a step back to become that person?
Right.
And I don't know how you do that. Do you have any suggestions on that?
No, but I think in this generation, what I think the 20-somethings specifically is struggling with right now is they think they should be at the top of their career in their 20s. Yeah. What they forget is your 20s are for struggling and figuring out who you are and figuring out what your next moves are going to be. And your 20s aren't easy.
Yeah.
At all. And they shouldn't be. But because it's truly what makes us.
Yeah. And I think they think college is it, right? Yeah. Let's say this too. I don't want everybody to think you have to go to college, because I think there's a lot of back and forth on whether or not college is, unless you're going in to be a doctor or an attorney or something like that, whether or not college is actually necessary. But I do feel like that's not even really the springboard, right? It may not even be your first job like it was for you to put you in the right position that you can transition in multiple jobs.
Right.
Because you went from retail into a completely
gaming
different
sales,
sector, right? You want to share a little bit about that.
So after I was finished in Florida, I had the opportunity to go back to BCBG Max Azria, open up the market here in all of Las Vegas for BCBG Max Azria. At that point, BCBG was kind of fading out, and Tory Burch and LVMH at that point had asked me to do some things with them. Prior to that, I was director of retail for the Wynn and Encore as well. So I kind of went through the retail here in Vegas. Retail was changing dramatically after '08. Really, you could see it after the crash. E-commerce was emerging fierce. And I, at that point, really needed a break from managing others and leading others because I had been doing it since my early 20s. And I had the opportunity to start with a casino gaming company in sales. And I was at the height of my career in luxury retail. And I had all the nice things and drove a really fancy car. But I really knew that I wanted to transition out. In order for me to do that, I had to take a step back in everything that my lifestyle was, including getting rid of my Escalade and driving a Toyota RAV4 that I could lease for $240 a month because I wanted to take a step back to be catapulted forward in my career.
I mean, that alone just gave me chills because I think we have to let go of the ego aspect of it, which I think you really did. But I think you also had an internal compass around, I have to do this. Like you said, I have to take a step back to really level up. How did you know that? Like what things what went through your mind in doing that?
I knew that I didn't want to be in retail anymore. And I knew that I could take all of the things I had learned over the past 20 years, and it had taken me internationally. It had taken me all throughout the United States and opening stores. And I knew that I could take those exact same skill sets and apply them in a great sales position for myself in a brand new industry. No one knew me. They had no idea. They would look at my resume and try to figure out how I could fit into their box and what they needed. Luckily, someone took a chance on me. I'm very, very grateful for that. But I knew I was going to make it work. And it was really kind of the sink or swim mentality. I knew if I needed to fall back in retail, I could, but it was just not something I was willing to do at that point.
Yeah, it's almost that burn the boats mentality. Although you knew if, God forbid, something were to happen, you knew you could always find some safety net inside of that. And so in the gaming sector, what did that look like?
Totally different.
Yeah?
I was not responsible for anyone but myself.
How was that?
It was really kind of nice.
Yeah.
It was a nice reprieve. But I knew how to do it. I knew I could take a sales goal and figure it out through my territory. I knew how to interact with customers. And really, retail sometimes gets a bad rap, and it's now very different. But I'm an old school kind of retail gal that grew up on a sales floor. I knew how to ask for the sale. I knew how to close a sale. I knew how to clientele. I knew how to manage a sales goal, not only for myself, but many other people.
Yeah.
So now condensing it down to myself was pretty simple.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it only took me about a year that I had that RAV4, and then I could level up to my Mercedes, which I did. But I did take that humble approach in the beginning and saying, listen, I have no problem driving this RAV4.
Yeah.
And all of my counterparts in gaming were making well over six figures, rolling up in their Range Rovers and their Teslas and their Escalades and all of these things. And I was rolling up in my RAV4 for a year.
How did that because I know, just in our society, it's all about the Joneses, right? And it's a little bit, everybody gets stuck in the comparison trap.
Sure. How
do you avoid that, or how did you just push through it?
Yeah, I took the humble approach and saying, listen, I've never been in gaming sales before, and I can't wait to learn from each of you. That's awesome. Also relying on and finding mentors very quickly, male, female, or people I could trust or knew that they were going to lead me in the right direction. I didn't know anything about a slot machine. Wow. I definitely knew nothing about the payments aspect and the other side of the non-customer facing side of gaming. But I trusted those around me to show me the way, and they did.
Was that just something that you fell into, like, back in the days, what was it, like the classifieds or something, that you're like, you know what, I see this post for this gaming salesperson, and you just jumped into it, or were you led into it by?
I was led into it by a network of professional women.
Okay.
Who had said, we have this opportunity, you'd be really great at this kind of junior sales role. And I jumped right in.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I think that I would love to just I understand how you transitioned into it and your thought around that. But what would you say to somebody today? Because I think, we'll talk about CWL, but transition is big, you know, and for a lot of women, men, that whole aspect of like, I'm not happy in this space, or like you said, I've come to the top of my level here at this, in this position or my career. How do you, take that leap of faith to make a huge transition like that?
Just trusting in yourself. The only person that you can rely on at that point is your support system and truly who you are and how badly you want it. Because I think if we all dig really deep and we pull up our bootstraps and say, this is what we're doing, there's no other option than to succeed.
Yeah. I love that. And, one thing, we went to the St. Jude's Ranch for Kids this weekend, and one question that we were all sitting around at the end, one question was asked by one in the organization, was by Wendy, was like, sure. How are you confident? Were you always confident? Mm-hmm. And when she asked me that question, I'm like, that's so, I don't know. It feels like it's been forever, but how would you answer that today? Were you always confident, or?
I don't know if I was always confident internally, but I knew in my sales roles and leadership roles, I had to exude a confidence.
Yeah.
And I had to have an air about me that I didn't always like, that air that was about me. And, but I had to shift that with different teams that I led. So internally, I was probably not always confident. Externally, I was. Now, I think as we age, right, in our 20s, we don't know who we are. Yeah. In our 30s, we're kind of scratching the surface. I'll be 46 this year, and I am probably the most confident I've ever been in my life. Yeah. Just in terms of who I am and what my values are, what I can bring to any table, and my excitement for what's to come.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. And as far as just knowing you come to a certain place in your life. We talked about this too, right? Just things don't matter anymore.
Right.
Things that used to matter. And then you also come to a place in your life, which it sounds like you got there early, just getting into the leadership aspect of it. But you realize that it's not even about you anymore. Mm-mm. You really, although it shouldn't have ever been about you, right. You shift immediately into this is about everybody else, which I feel like this is probably a great segue into collective women's leadership, which I'm so grateful that we have this ability to actually connect like this. And I'm going to say this because in my head, I'm like, do I really share this? Like, we've really only known each other a month and a half.
Yeah,
a couple months. Yeah. And it started by Instagram. You hosted a baby shower for our dear friend, mutual friend. She actually was my personal trainer that kicked my butt. So every once in a while, I wouldn't call her a friend. But then I saw your post about CWL as you're launching it. And honestly, for me, it was an act of courage because I don't normally DM.
Sure.
So I would say for people out there, like, have the courage, be bold. If there's something out there that you're curious about, take action on it. But that led us to meeting, great conversation. And then it's just been like an amazing whirlwind since our meeting as far as you're like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And we're like, go time, go time. So tell me a little bit about the creation around CWL. And then I'd love to know what the vision is for you.
So every year for the past 10, 11 years, I have a all girls fun Christmas pajama party. Okay. And I invite all of my friends who happen to have really great careers, really great businesses. And then this last Christmas, I was looking around, there was about 20 women there. And I'm thinking to myself, what more can we do in terms of creating a community other than once a year at a Christmas party? Mm. I mean, these women are amazing women, everyone from top executives, CEOs, VPs, at the height of their trade career, in hairstyling or nails or whatever it might be, women that just don't stop learning and growing. So at that point, I was kicking around with a few friends, Michaela and a few other friends, in terms of how to create a network of women that really give back in a few ways. It's kind of a 3-tiered approach, as you know. So we offer mentorship. We also offer, if you wanted to become a mentor, becoming a mentor. And then the third one is just being an empowered member. And I found that there was a gap in the market in terms of a collective women's networking group. Number one, you either had to have or hold a certain title at VP or above in most industries. If that was outside of a specific industry, you had to be nominated. It was a very structured approach. The other one is there are networking groups within certain industries only, right? So gaming has one. I'm sure the real estate has one. All of those things. But like we just said earlier, what if you're sick and tired and you're at the end of what you want to accomplish in that industry? If you're not surrounding yourself with other women in different areas, how are you ever going to get out?
Yeah, true.
So I had kicked around some different names and had some friends help me with names and how we wanted this to work. And I invested in some social media and started launching on my personal page some social media leadership stuff, incorporated the business, and here we are. So Collective Women's Leadership is probably 60 days old at this point, but we are growing fast and furious, and we're making an impact in our community already, which is huge, right? We supported Crohn's and Colitis Spin for a Cure this month. We supported and had a table at the St. Jude Ranch and gave a lot of money to them. But just through different aspects, we're holding our coffee connects at Earth Cafe. So we're really having a lot of opportunity in terms of paid events, unpaid events, but really community, us as a community giving back and making ourselves readily available for emergent leaders that need mentors in different industries.
Yeah, I mean, you just summed it all up into one thing, but it is so much. I mean, I was just so astonished at the launch. And I think that was the most, for me, that was true confirmation that this is much needed in our community and across the country, to be very honest with you. I mean, you had, 70?
Just under 70 women showed up to our launch. And we invited them just wanting to introduce them to what Collective Women's Leadership is.
Yeah.
They could see it on Instagram. They could see my posts, but they didn't really understand how it worked. But they all showed up in droves, and they were all very excited.
Yeah.
We have, I think, as of today in Las Vegas alone, over 50 members.
That's awesome.
And we're just going to continue to elevate that. I have inquiries out of Austin and inquiries out of Orlando in terms of how to open up kind of maybe their own Collective Women's Leadership chapters.
That's amazing.
As well as LA.
Wow. And I mean, I think from the vision around that, did you expect it to go that wide?
No.
Or in this fast, I would say, right? Because I mean, we're on a group chat together and you're like, oh my gosh,
here we go.
We're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just admire you for putting this all together. I think as you thought through that, did you ever, what do you see yourself doing next from this standpoint? Is this where you're going to be for a little while and in being the leader founder of this? And then are you going to grow the other cities, states, and maybe globally?
I think it would be really great. I think, I take a lot of the members' feedback and seeing how they want this to play out. If they are asking for certain things, I want to make sure we deliver that as fast as we can. So I think really understanding the Las Vegas market, understanding how we're going to be launching online emergent leadership series for the young emergent leaders and what the online kind of Zoom classroom setting looks like for the younger generation, right? For the younger generation who's either getting out of high school, getting out of college, in college, trying to figure out their trade school, trying to figure out what they want to hone in terms of skills, and bringing a classroom setting on Zoom kind of nationwide. It doesn't matter where you are, but us as the mentors really putting them through some tough subjects that we can tackle. Everything from personal branding, what your Instagram says about you, because employers are looking, how they present themselves, how they show up to a meeting, how they have conversations and interact and what their network looks like. I think this generation also struggles with the fact that their network lives behind a screen.
Yeah.
And their network is not via Instagram.
Yeah.
Their network has to be kind of in person and really getting to know each other.
I think that's what has been missing for many years because of the social media aspect of it. I think if you use the force social media for good, it can absolutely be good. But I think a lot of people have fallen, I don't want to say victim, but definitely fallen into this trap of this is the next wave of communication only. But even in being at the launch, being at the Coffee Connects, there's such a different dynamic just in connection, which most people would say, oh, women, you're going to get around each other and it's going to be, either chatty Cathy or it's going to be, you're always like that comparison aspect. And that's not at all what it's about. And you can feel that the moment you walk in to any experience or event that you're putting on to. And I know we've only done like 2 or 3, but even when we went to St. Jude's.
Sure.
I mean, just being there and being able to kind of express what it is that the vision of the company and the organization, so many people are attracted to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people, actually, I felt so humbled and excited at St. Jude of women who were coming up to me saying, oh, you're Collective Women's Leadership. I'm so-and-so. It's so great to meet you. I love what you're doing on Instagram, or I love your messaging, or those types of things. And that really is humbling because people are watching and we're making an impact even silently.
Yeah, I would agree. You've done a great job, though, just in how you have put together your vision and how you've executed. I mean, I think one of the things that I've watched, it's you take action. You're not afraid to try different things. Sure. And I think that's hard for a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, looking at myself as I watched you, just, you have this fearless enthusiasm about you, where some people could be fearless, but not necessarily excited about the process. And then there's just some people are just, super enthusiastic, but then there's also people who just lack that confidence that we spoke about. But I'm really excited to be part of it and excited about the upcoming events. Do you want to share some of the events that I know dates aren't specific yet, but those that we have coming up?
Yeah, so we have Coffee Connects every other Friday at Earth Cafe at the Uncommons. That's open to anyone. Obviously, members get the invite, but if you feel like you want to bring a friend, your daughter, anyone who could benefit from really understanding what Collective Women's Leadership is about, that event is open every other Fridays. We had our first one, but the next one is May 10th. In June, we have candle making, which will be fun. It's a networking event at the Speakeasy Candle Company, which is also at the Uncommons. I think that's June 14th, I believe. And then from there, what we're really launching soon is the Emergent Leader online class with the virtual workbook, all of those things that a very kind of structured class for the emergent leaders. Or if you're not an emergent leader and you just need to touch up on some things and have some great conversations, it's open to anyone that would want to participate, but that'll be on the website shortly. Let's see, we're planning a Health and Wellness Thrive event at the end of the summer. There's just so many things, speaker series that we have coming up, but really in collecting the data from what the women want from Collective Women's Leadership, they really, really want the networking events where they can continue to meet powerful women in the community, surround themselves with a diverse group of think in terms of all of the things that we go through in any working environment.
I love it. And I would just say, the best way to get a hold, or the best way to get signed up or to get more information on that, is that going to be Instagram or?
Sure. Instagram, which is Collective Women's Leadership, the website, which is collectivewomensleadership.com.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So the gaming sector was, how long were you in the gaming sector?
I think just under 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Mm-hmm. And is that really what brought you back to Vegas, or was?
No, it was retail, and then I had transitioned into gaming.
I gotcha. Yeah. And I know you tout and say, which I would, at one point in my life, I will say this, I am officially retired from the mortgage industry, but you actually said, no, I retired. And now you went on to do something else. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I struggled for a long time. So after I was furloughed during COVID with most of the world. Okay. And after I had come back, there was a lot of uncertainty in my company at that point. And so my husband and I were kind of reassessing what our life would look like and how we were going to kind of continue. So we had come to a mutual decision that I put my notice in at my career. Well, at that point, I really struggled for the next few months because I didn't have a job. I didn't know what to tell people. Was I unemployed? Was I going back to work? Was I looking for work? All of these things. So I really just sat down one day and figured it out. I wasn't going to negate or neglect my 25 years of hard work in corporate America. So I truly retired. I retired out of it. And so now I say, I am retired from corporate America, but that led me into pursuing my MBA, which I graduate in August with my MBA.
Wow.
And I just applied to law school.
Wow.
I'm writing a book.
Wow.
And then I obviously launched CWO.
Wow. So you're definitely not done with your journey.
No.
This is something that is like next step for you, right? Like next level of your career.
Yeah, I think our generation, my generation, the statistics state that we will have 3 very distinct, different careers throughout our lifetime. My first one was retail, which I'm very thankful for. My second one was gaming, which I'm very thankful for. And my third one is truly the entrepreneurial aspect of it, which I never thought in my life I would have the opportunity to do.
So tell me a little bit about the book. Are you like starting the
Yeah,
manuscript?
the book is probably halfway finished.
Really?
Yeah, I hope it launches in August.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is the premise around it? Do you have a title?
The title is called Wardrobe Wisdom.
Ooh.
And the transformative power of merchandising your closet. So merchandising is obviously a retail term, but merchandising is what makes you go into a store and shop.
Huh.
It's not the organization. It's the merchandising. It's how they put the outfits together. So if you walk into a store and you say, I want that outfit, or I like the way that looks, that's the power of merchandising from a retail perspective. It's how they get your money. So there is a way that you can do it in your closet if you take a different approach to your closet and really merchandise it correctly. And then you can shop in your closet every morning. I think it's really important to bring that aspect because the way we dress and the way we present ourselves, right? We talk about this in Collective Women's Leadership. It kind of ties back holistically to that. The way we present ourselves is a true reflection of us. And we have to be excited and motivated to get dressed and get ready every morning.
Yeah.
And we can do that within our own closet.
So can you share a little bit of that? Maybe this will be a 10-minute masterclass on that so they can get a sneak peek of your book. But I mean, help me understand that, or maybe what you walk through yourself when you merchandise your own clothes for you to come to the podcast as an example.
Sure. So it can be done in any closet. I've had numerous size closets, anything from a studio apartment in New York City all the way to a luxury closet and everything in between. But really, it's making sure everything's on the same type of hanger, making sure that you have kind of your work clothes in one area, and then you have your workout clothes in an area, and then your casual clothes, but it's who you want to be, and making sure when you're buying that outfit at the store, whatever store that might be or online, that it's staying put together in your closet. It's not being transitioned to another area, because then you're going to lose the outfit that you first purchased. And you're going to continuously say, I don't have anything to wear.
Okay, so walk through that with me. So I go to a store, somebody helps me put together an outfit, an ensemble, and you're saying that piece should stay on that same hanger just as it is? Or are you saying like the top, the pants, the whatever?
You should have kind of everything that would excite you to put it back on again in the next few months. So if you're wearing that suit, for example, maybe in your closet, you're going to have your suit jacket in one area and your shorts in another area and your top in another area.
Okay.
Instead, they should kind of all be together. And you could pair up different tops with that suit. So you can make it look different. You can so you'd have your suit jacket, and then you're going to have like 2 or 3 top options. Yeah. You're going to have maybe a cute denim option with that, and maybe a pair of black pants and your shorts. So that needs to be.
You just styled me right here.
That's right.
So that, I think that's different for a lot of people.
Very different.
This suit lives in a suit jacket area, a suit, like you said, a shorts area, and then I have multiple blouses.
Right. So then you're scurrying and you're standing in your closet and you're like, okay, I don't understand. I don't have anything to wear. I just spent $1,000 or $500 on these cute outfits. Where are they?
Yeah.
I can't seem to figure it out in my brain.
Love that. And so you just go right in, you know where it's at, and you have the options that are there.
Yeah. Traditionally, what I've seen is typically people teach you how to organize a closet. So you would go light to dark, tank top or spaghetti strap, tank top, short sleeve to long sleeve, right? And then you have all your shirts living together, and then you have your shorts living together, and then you have your suit jackets and your denim living together. Well, that's not how we get dressed. You get dressed by a whole look. The whole look has to be put together.
But what if you have multiple pieces that go with multiple looks?
You can absolutely do that. We can do it by season, because you're not going to wear a sweater, right, with that outfit. So then it does take some work. It takes about twice a year that you would probably have to do a refresh, but it's worth the time because it truly inspires you to shop your own closet every morning.
Wow. So as you're getting ready for whatever event that you might be going to, what is that? Does it happen usually at night? Does it happen in the morning when you're getting ready? Or do you have that like a week in advance? I know I've got to go to St. Jude's and look adorable like you did at St. Jude's.
Well, I am a fashion fanatic. And so I plan my outfits meticulously like a week in advance, but it also saves me a lot of time. And I often tell women this: if you're hustling and bustling in the morning, it's best to pick out all of your outfits the Sunday before, so you can just grab every outfit in the morning. It cuts out. It saves you so much time if you're organized.
Yeah. As you're saying that, I'm like, I just need to do that. I do a weekly review and preview of like my business schedule and my life schedule, but that is the one thing that I will definitely incorporate, because that is like every day I'm like, what am I going to wear today? You know, I knew I was going to wear this today for this, but definitely like because usually what ends up happening is like, I don't like that. And then it's all on, it sits there until Sunday when I have to pick it up and put it back away or whatever, because I decide not to wear it.
Right.
That's amazing. So the book is about that?
Yeah. Wardrobe Wisdom, the transformative power of merchandising your closet.
And did you learn that through the retail sales?
Oh, of course. 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, you do floor sets every 4 to 6 weeks in retail. Everything's constantly churning and changing.
Yeah.
And if people actually applied that to their closet, I know 4 to 6 weeks is a pretty mundane task that not many people are going to want to do, but there is a way you can apply it to ensure that you're kind of inspired to shop your closet every day.
Well, I don't even think I've ever heard shop your closet like that, the whole thought around it, because you don't, I mean, for me, you really do. That also gets you excited, right? Because everybody loves to, it's almost like getting a brand new, anything, and that the concept around just shopping your closet.
Yeah.
I just love that. And then you can also mix and match things. That's for me the hardest part. Like, I get the put together suits that are the same because I can't put together what you just put together today for the podcast. And so how do you have any skills on that or ideas around how you can teach someone? Like you just mentioned, oh, you could put this with jeans, you could put this with that. I'm like, I really could do that. How did you do that?
Well, obviously my background
Sure.
speaks a lot of it, but I love basics and I love solid colors.
Okay.
I'm a very specific print person. That's just me. And I like kind of a more elevated look, regardless of anyone's budget, right? I love this jacket from Zara, and I think I got this tank top off of Amazon. Amazon has some really great dupes, and I love pairing all of that with my investment pieces, which I also love.
Yeah.
So it's really just a mix and match of if you see something on Amazon that you love, and they have this summer suit out right now on Amazon where it's a suit jacket with kind of a vest because the sleeves are off, and then pants. It's perfect for Vegas. I think it's less than $35 for the suit on Amazon. I think I bought one to try it out. It's beautiful.
Wow. We'll have to drop the link in the show notes just to give Joyce's tidbits on that or
style. Right.
That's awesome. Because I think the hardest part is, and maybe this goes back to the people listening today, like what would you say is, from a staple shop your closet, what would you say would be like the top 5 pieces you should have, whether you're not workout pieces, but, primarily for those we talk about emerging leaders, right? So those who are going into coming out of college, even coming out of high school, right? And then those who are also in the business sector,
right? In
business today, like what would be the top 5 pieces you would say for them to have?
For sure, you need a power suit, right? You have to be ready for interviews. Under that power suit, you should have a really classic button-down white shirt. You can pair that blazer with a really nice crisp pair of like dark denim.
Love that.
Maybe a pair of a really nice dress that you feel confident in if you know you're a female, that you can wear to an interview, you can wear out. And then probably the fifth thing, which is really important, is a really great pair of pumps or flats that you feel confident in. For me, I've always felt more confident in a heel and a pump. It's probably the generation we were growing up in at the time. I know that's different now, but you still need a nice pair of shoes that you feel confident in, and a really an outfit that you feel really good about yourself in. Because when you're in an interview, whether you're on Zoom or whether you're in person, you have to present your best self, and your best self really starts with the confidence that you possess from within, and clothing has a lot to do with it.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think sometimes people also, I think they look past the clothes, like the inner being. And I know we talk a little bit about, like wellness. Like I know that's going to be an aspect for us. And I think the confidence starts with mental wellness, but also physical wellness and such. And so how do you tackle that outside of the clothing aspect of it? How do you deal with that?
I didn't start my health and wellness journey until I was 30. So I was probably a little late, but now I work out at least, 5 days a week. That's just for me. I like the way my clothes fit. I like the way I look. I like the way I present myself when I'm, more fit. But it also helps my mind. There's a physical piece to it, but more so there's a mind piece to getting in a great workout and what it does for your hormones and your pheromones and all of those really good juices it gets flowing for your brain. And again, the more consistent you are, and the more you can set aside that 1 hour of time, we're talking about 60 minutes, that's it, of setting that time out for yourself changes your whole perspective and day. For the way you show up for your family and your children and your work and your peers, all of those types of things. But I really started my journey at 30 with that, and I won't stop at this point. And it really allows me to kind of eat whatever I'd like to as well.
I definitely think as I've aged, the food aspect has shifted for me, but I do agree with you that the physical aspect of it for me is something that as I've gotten older, and my journey started in 2018, really just a few years ago with Lindsay, actually. That really worked me to get out of my baby fat, which that was like 12 years in the making of deciding that I was going to do that. But that to me it helps me also to be very confident. We talk about confidence and because I can fit in the clothes that I want to feel beautiful in, there's an element of that. But then the mental mindset of it, the hormone aspect of it and all the serotonin and all that other stuff that's built into that, I don't think people understand even just walking outside is exercise, right? And it is something to move your body. And that gives you just a little bit of, it's not necessarily weight loss, right? No. It's just this mental aspect that grows you and that actually fulfills you just being outside and doing something with your body.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think with the clothes aspect of it and the confidence side of it, I know for myself, I struggled a lot with that. I see it even with my daughter. Sometimes it's the element of preparation too.
Sure.
So even as you're saying, get yourself ready, there are other things I think we have to get ourselves ready for too.
Yes. All the time. You have to mentally get yourself prepared for the week. It goes before then, right? You have to mentally sit down at the beginning of every month. For me, this is what I've always done, and plan out your month. Right? Mentally get prepared for your month. What are your goals? How are you going to get there? How are you going to be consistent in showing up and making sure you achieve those goals? I'm a goal person.
Me too.
So I really like to check boxes, mark things off. I'm not digitally on my phone as my, I have to have like a physical calendar still.
I am the same. Yeah.
But that shows our age. So I really have to set my goals for the month, and then I break them down by week, and figure out how to make that happen.
I am the same. I actually start out with the year kind of in mind, not like a New Year's resolution thing, but I really do reset the end of the year, and then I start off the new year, and then I do the same thing every month. Like I know where I'm supposed to be headed. And I think that honestly was something that I had to learn. I learned that through the business, but I also, like, I can't say that I learned this. I've had it for 25 years in the industry. It's something that I learned over the course of the last 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if and now I can't see myself going backwards on it, but adding just you talking about the clothes aspect of it, because that's stress for me.
Okay.
Right. And for some people,
it might be stress.
Totally. Yeah. Right. But I also think it's because of the lack of preparation in it.
Right. And stress comes with lack of preparation.
True.
In anything.
True.
So if it's having to do with, this getting ready for this podcast and your preparation for this, your lack of preparation for your goals for the year, your lack of preparation for the food you're going to eat, the lack of preparation for how you're going to time out your day, or even, what you're going to wear, right? Yeah. Preparation is probably the key to building confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's going to be the tagline for for the podcast today. So what are you planning to do with the law degree?
I really want to learn. I won't practice law. I'm not sitting for the bar. It's not that. I definitely want to learn how to navigate contracts, contract law, business law, all of those types of things. But I don't have any desire to practice or sit for the bar.
Is it also the education aspect? It's online, or are you?
I can't decide yet. I've applied to a few schools, so we'll see.
Wow. So you and your son will be going to school together. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
Being a mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we're both empty nesters this year.
Right, we are.
So how's that been going from empty nest, that transition as well for you?
It is interesting. I was preparing myself for this for the past few years, right? It's why I went back to school.
Okay.
It's why I it's how I was able to start Collective Women's Leadership and writing a book. So mentally preparing myself to be an empty nester is something that was in my head since he started driving. Because I think naturally, the natural progression of our children kind of leaving the nest is when they get their driver's license.
I agree.
And they have a lot of freedom, and we put a lot of trust in what they're doing and the decisions they're making, but we're not over them all the time. We're not driving them to practice. Yeah. We're not driving them to school. We're not picking them up from school. And so I could see this natural progression happening in terms of it's going to be here really quick, that he is going to be out of the house and be going to school. So I have to say it was preparation in terms of when he got his driver's license. That's how I prepared myself for it.
And what would be, if you were to tell a viewer today because I have my own things that I tell people, as you know, somebody who may be in their junior year, what would you tell a family, a parent today about preparation?
Trust your children, right? You've done the right thing. You've raised a great human who's going to make the best decisions that you've equipped them to make. And kind of trust that journey, but definitely start planning on how you are going to settle into being an empty nester when they leave. You have to kind of plan your next steps in terms of what that will look like.
And I think, for those who have significant others, that was actually for me one of the things that I didn't think about. You don't think about, oh my goodness, this is just the two of us, like literally the song, just the two of us. But that was a big transition.
Yeah.
How was that for you guys?
I think it was pretty nice and pretty easy. We like to travel and doing meal preps for two people is pretty nice. And
yeah.
We know where everything is in the house and there's not much laundry. It's kind of nice in terms of there's no kind of issues in regards to how the house is run. So yeah, I have to say I'm not necessarily sad about it. It's bittersweet, and I love watching my son become a man, because my goal was to raise a man, and we have to let them become men or become women out from underneath of us.
Yeah, I think that is. I know for myself, it's one of those things I have to remind myself every day when she's making these decisions, like, okay, you're on your own now. You want to go to LA to a concert on a Sunday when you know you have school the next morning and it's a 2.5-hour drive. This just recently happened. So I'm like, you can't control it, right? You can only influence.
Right.
You can hope, like you said, you've raised them right to make those right decisions.
Yeah.
And they do it right. So he's coming back home.
He is, for the summer.
So what will that look like
He'll be home. He'll be working full time. I think he's taking 2 summer classes. He's on the 3-year program, so he wants to graduate in 3 years. And then we have a few family trips planned, and then he'll be off in August. So it'll fly by.
It will.
He'll be really busy. And one of our expectations is when he's home, he's working full time and really contributing to society and figuring out what he wants to do, because it gives him a bigger vision and experience of what is after college.
Yeah. And does he already have his job lined up for him, or
for the summer? He does. Yeah,
he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, actually, because I think they get kind of lost, especially if they're not going to do summer school.
Sure.
They get lost in, okay, this is not a vacation.
No.
This is like home away from home.
That's over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've got to prepare for the real world heading out of here.
That's right.
The other thing I wanted to chat about was deluxe version.
Oh, sure.
So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
being spotlighted as Woman of the Year.
Thank you.
We're going to celebrate you in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
What was that all about, and how did that happen for you?
I was approached by the magazine to participate and them having an article about CWL specifically, which I was very excited to highlight because, of course, I want to continue to grow and expand that and give back as much as I can. So they were very gracious enough, and I was extremely humbled, and I am humbled to see what May 11th is all about.
So it's in a couple weeks. You already have your outfit picked out for that?
Of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
I can't wait to see it. Awesome. All right. Well, I think we should end it. Can we end it at that? Are we at time?
Yeah, I think
we are at time. Okay. Do you want me to do a loop on the ending, or are you good? Can you edit those in?
If you want to do another,
just in case it sounds better, just to practice. He's like, just in case. Yeah, I gotcha. So we'll come off of CWL, though. That'll be the last part of it.
Oh, right? And then you loop back into, he'll loop it back.
We'll loop this one. Yeah, because I feel like that would fit more, and then we'll go into to CWL. Okay. Well, thank you, Joyce, so much for being here with us, and really looking forward to what's going to happen with CWL. For those of you who would love to connect with her, please check her out on Instagram at Collective Women's Leadership. Also, check out the website, Collective Leaders. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
You almost had it.
I know. Also, check out the website, collectivewomensleadership.com, so that you can check us out and see exactly what it is. She said it's a 3-tier, like she mentioned, it is a 3-tier way that you can join the organization, whether mentorship, and then also just being part of our great organization. And with that said, thank you so much, Joy, for coming on.
Oh, very humbled. Thank you.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next show. Make sure that you share, save, and subscribe. See you on the next show. Bye.